few moments, begin to really nestle into your space. Settle in to that ever so familiar space in your home. That space that we've created for our living. And we've also, over months, created for our easing and being in our yoga practice. Interesting that one space can have so many functions, the being and the doing. We can move back and forward, in and out of balance, with a sense of awareness and maybe slowly growing ease. Being aware that we can draw ourselves into that sense of equilibrium and balance at will, when we can notice that there has been any shifts or any alterations to our stability. So in the space that is yours, be warm, be nurtured, and settle for these few moments, easing into the floor, grounding the body down. Maybe the opening of the chest, as the shoulder blades come together behind the body, underneath. The shoulder blades become more in contact with the earth. Maybe the slight tilting of the pelvis, drawing the small of the back a little bit into the floor. To be able to nestle down the adrenal glands, to allow those to be earthed. To discharge some of that energy into the earth, whilst receiving the ease and the calmness that the grounding can bring potentially. Hands resting wherever is comfortable for you. Perhaps the knees are bent or straight. Whichever works best for you for these settling, grounding, arriving moments, do so. Breath awareness, the noticing of the body as it receives the incoming breath, and the change of the body with the outgoing breath. Your unique flow and pattern of receiving and releasing, without any need to alter, any need to really guide or direct for now. Just giving a starting noticing point. And perhaps now deepening the breath to draw that inhalation down into the belly, to feel the expansion of the lower lobes of the lungs. And with your out breath, the reverse occurs with the caving in of the belly and the releasing of the breath. And the belly button goes to the back of the spine with the out breath. And with that intentional deepening, expanding the belly and into the chest. And in your own pace, the reverse, the exhaling, the drawing the breath out of the body. And taking a few breaths in your own time, following your own rhythmic breath. Now drawing the energy of the breath into fingers, into toes, maybe with the eyes remaining closed if they're closed or lowered. Just allowing for that movement to find the extremities of you. And when you're ready, drawing the arms up and overhead to extend along the floor. Toes away, fingers away. The opening and expansion of the length of your body. Maybe wiggling into the fingers and wiggling into the toes to draw the awareness of the length of you. That point where you end and the rest of your room begins. Whilst breathing, whilst drawing the small of the back to the floor and softening the arms wherever they're comfortable. Drawing the arms once again overhead, lengthening fingers, lengthening toes, the expansion, the drawing the belly into the spine, spine to the floor, whilst allowing the breath to flow in and out. And easing once again. Drawing the hands, interlacing the fingers overhead towards the sky. Toes towards the sky, and when you're ready with the arms straight or perhaps slightly bent, maybe not reaching too strongly, allowing the arms to fall overhead, leading with the heels of the hands and the feet, and the breath once again, being aware of that as it comes and goes, and letting go, giving in, and noticing the absence of that movement, the absence of that stretch, the awareness of the breath, with the audible exhalation perhaps through the mouth to really let go and give in. Sighing the breath away. Drawing the knees up toward the chest. To place the hands on the knees, hugging them into the chest. And maybe moving side to side or in circles. To give the small of the back some support. Draw the awareness to the small of the back. The very strong muscles that carry you through your day as you sit, stand, walk, your activity. When they're working quite well, it's easy to forget them. It's when they're challenging or crying out to you when we become a little bit more aware, when the body starts to get a bit louder. So for this moment, notice in. And drawing the feet towards the sky. Maybe massaging behind the legs. The blanket's fallen on the face, flick it away. heels towards the sky and toes. Some pointing and flexing heels and toes. And I'll just check the view, just do a few more heels and toes, and I'll just make sure you can all see me here. Oops. And relax the legs whilst they're overhead for just a moment. And leading with the heels, slightly open the stance. So maybe put a foot between the 2 feet as they plant the feet on the ceiling, and then pointing the toes and flexing the feet once again. You might like to massage and nurture as you need. And then drawing the feet a little bit wider apart with the heels towards the sky. You might need to bend the legs, the knees a little bit. Might be a bit strong on the hamstrings. Give them a bit of a massage and point. We'll just do one more with the heels. Doesn't have to go too wide. Just to be comfortable, but to engage the back of the legs. Be aware of the jaw. Make sure the jaw isn't engaged here. And pointing the toes. And from here, making circles with the ankles. Drawing the small of the back to the floor, belly button to the spine. So engaging the core muscles, the mula bandha. And reversing. So we really support the back once again through this posture. Whilst we're feeling it in other areas, we're well supported and grounded into the earth. And drawing the feet towards the sky and giving them a shake, shaking them out. Quite strong on many areas, that stretch, which looks quite subtle, but it works on lots of areas, and we don't want the jaw engaged, but it can incidentally come to be. And now lengthening the legs out along the floor, and for this moment giving in, noticing what's occurred in your body after that stretch. Noticing where your body's experiencing the movement that was. And from here, allowing the toes to come in and out. Moving the legs from the hips to the toes, getting some movement. Toes coming in and out, flopping the feet, flopping the legs. And staying here and easing the movement for just a moment. To tighten and clench the toes, clenching the hands, scrunching the face, really exaggerating any tension that may have been there. And the reverse, opening hands, splaying toes, opening eyes, perhaps even extending the mouth. No one can see you. I can't see you either. Opening the mouth wide. And reversing, clenching toes, hands, face, maybe even bringing the shoulders up to the ears if you like. And the reverse, opening and expanding the extremities, your eyes and mouth. And giving in, letting that, all of the tension go. Releasing all of that holding and easing into the floor. A few more sighing breaths. That releasing, getting rid of. And we were talking a little bit earlier about the holding of breath that we have at the moment as we wait for one announcement to the next. This gives us an opportunity to really experience the potential holding in our body and that opposite response of the releasing, that consciously letting go. Once more, drawing the knees in toward the chest. Making circles with the knees. Moving in the opposite direction, belly button to spine. Drawing the knees into the chest once again and extending the forehead to the knees, maybe supporting the neck. And softening down. We'll do one more, hugging in, forehead to the knees, supporting as you need. And releasing. Drawing the hands onto the knees once again. Widening the knees and drawing the foot soles together. Holding onto the ankles or the toes, your pants, legs, wherever you're able to reach. The heels coming in towards the body. The hands gripping and pushing against the hands. So pushing the feet, legs against the hands and drawing the hands in towards the feet, the shoulders towards the floor. So there's a pushing and a pulling, there's an equal and opposite reaction and a softening. We'll just do one more, adjust as you need, foot soles together. Heels being drawn and pulled towards the body whilst pushing against the hands. Noticing the jaw, releasing any tightness there. And softening, releasing the hands, feet to the sky, giving it all a shake, shaking it all out. And lowering for a moment, feet to the floor. And a breath to give in. With the knees bent, taking the right foot crossing over the left bent leg. So the ankle onto the knee or the thigh. And gently bobbing that bent knee away from the body. Noticing into the hips. Again, working with your body, only going as far as works for you. This is more opening up the hips, but just waking them up without shocking them into life. And if it's possible for you, taking that foot off the floor and drawing the bent legs towards the body. You might like to take the hands into the thighs, around the back of the leg. Gently bob in towards the body. You might just breathe into that. Perhaps even drawing that bent leg towards the sky, straightening that leg out, if that works for you, or remaining bent. Small of the back, into the floor, belly button engaged with the spine. And bending that leg, that straight leg, down to the floor. Releasing both feet to the floor with the knees bent, giving them a shake and a wobble. And letting go any of that effort, releasing the effort. And swapping over. So now the left leg comes crossing onto the right, the ankle placed there. You might like to hold the ankle perhaps. Whilst the knee, with that bent leg on top, bobs away. And this side might be exactly the same. It may be completely different. Just notice where your body is. The difference in holding that we all have in our bodies in different parts. And when you're ready, slowing that movement and drawing both legs towards the body. Taking the hands in around the bent right leg. Breathing and noticing any
tightness that might be occurring in your face in this position. Maybe lengthening the leg towards the sky if that works for you, or allowing that to remain bent, whichever works for you. And just bobbing the knees, the legs towards you ever so slightly. It doesn't have to be a big movement to be experienced as a deep stretch. And lowering both feet once again to the floor with the knees bent, giving the legs a shake, allowing for all of the flesh to be felt on the bones. And once again, straightening the legs out and giving in, relaxing the body down, drawing the breath in and sighing the next breath out. Being in your breath. And when you're ready, to bend the knees and roll over to one side to come up into sitting. And rolling the body up into standing. And taking a moment for the body to adjust. We've been on the floor for a period. Standing up in your homes, maybe a bit warmer up here. Just allowing your body just to find that balance after it's moved. Moving the feet a little bit, so drawing some awareness into the toes. Coming from one foot to the next, a bit of pedaling. Just to wake up the toes, because we're going to be working on the toes for the next stretch. Next movement. Maybe spending a bit of time on one foot and then the next, whichever works for you. And lowering the feet now. We'll move into a moving mountain pose. So drawing the arms by the side. And as you inhale, draw the arms up overhead. The feet flat for now. And then the palms facing out with the exhalation. Again, taking your own time. Your breath may be faster or slower than mine. As we inhale next time, coming on to the toes. Reaching up to the sky. And then turning the palms down to return to the flat feet. Next time when we come up, we'll hold for one breath with the inhalation. And holding, pausing for just one breath, or one moment. And exhaling. I should have said one moment rather than a breath, because we're holding the breath for a moment at the top. Inhaling. As we come to the toes, we'll hold and pause for two. And turning the palms down and releasing. So with the next breath as we go up, we'll hold for three, but when you come up, slowly allow your breath to fill. And when you come up, pause in the fullness for just 2 counts, 3 counts. And lowering once again. And next time when we go up, we'll stay up. Inhaling onto the toes. If this becomes too strong for the toes, lower the heels to the floor. And now allowing the breath to flow. Inhaling, reaching towards the sky. And as you exhale, lower the shoulders and slightly bend the knees. And if you're able to remain on the toes, do so. If not, lower the feet. Inhaling onto the toes, lengthening. We'll just do 2 more of these, this being one. Exhaling, the softening of the shoulders. Last one. Lengthening skyward with the inhalation, belly to the spine, or the And exhaling, letting it all go. And a bit of movement. Just shaking it out a little bit, maybe even shaking a bit more vigorously. To let all of that go. Pardon me, widening the feet. And drawing the arms wide. The thumbs skyward. And drawing the thumbs back behind, towards the back of your room or the back of your body. Sweeping towards the sky, the front of the room, down and back towards the back once again. Really rotating from the shoulders, using your thumb as the guide. And breathing in whichever way works best for you. To rotate from the shoulders to the fingertips. And the belly button into the spine here, so really engaging the core muscles here so the back can be supported. And with the palms towards the sky, just giving in, letting the body go, flopping the body down, hinging down toward the floor. Again, you might like to massage behind the legs once again. And softening when you're ready toward the floor. You might slightly bend the knees if that's a bit too uncomfortable this morning on the backs of the legs, or remaining straight. Clenching the muscles of the buttocks and the thighs, really exaggerating once again that holding and soften. Clenching and tightening, increasing that resistance and softening. And once more, last time, tightening the muscles of buttocks, thighs, and softening. Softening the knees, really deep into a deep kind of softening of the knees. Bending and rolling the body up into standing. And arriving here, quiet and settled for just a moment. Notice if there's been any changes to your breath from when we've been inverted to when we're standing. And moving into the shoulders, some shoulder rolls, up, back and down. And feeling the shoulders moving, shoulder blades coming together behind. And reversing when you're ready. And now taking the right foot and turning the right foot out and the left foot in a little bit. So we're now facing in the, I'm going to move a little bit here. So the right leg is in front, the left is behind. Drawing the right hand onto the hip. So we're going to be bending forward. So maybe making a few little bends forward and back. Maybe adjusting your legs as you need. So we'll be moving forward with the inhalation. And we'll move moving back with the exhalation. With the inhalation, moving forward. And with the exhalation, drawing the belly to the spine to support the back, strong back as we lengthen up. Now with your next inhalation, draw the knee bent and the opposite hand, the left hand, reaching towards the sky. So one knee, opposite hand. And with the exhalation, releasing down with the hands, straightening the leg. So we're using that cross-referencing between the right and left hemispheres of the brain. We're moving the knee on the left or the right and the arm of the left in unison. So with the next inhalation, with the knee bent and extending the arm up towards the sky, remain here for a few counts, a few breaths. Dropping the shoulder with the exhalation, and with the inhalation, that lengthening of the arm. You don't need to do a strong back bend. You might like to, but it's more reaching towards the sky. And when you're ready, with the arm remaining overhead, straightening the leg in front and coming onto the toe behind. And maybe making some adjustments. We're drawing the weight into that leg in front. We're drawing the grounding into the weight into the leg in front. We're going to be bending now the left leg up. So lengthening up through the spine, fingertips, breath flowing, and lowering down. Now that was a bit of a surprise, didn't see that coming, but maybe shaking that out. So using the right and left in opposites, the opposite sides of us, to try and integrate the movement, trying to balance our right and left hemispheres. And maybe notice what's occurred now in the side of your body which has done the work, the left side that has done a bit more work. Notice if there's any changes, any shifts between that side and the other. And we'll work in the reverse. So now drawing the opposite, I might have to do it this way, drawing the opposite leg in front. You won't be able to see me. So the left foot is forward and the right is back. Is that correct? Yep. And then just bending forward and back just to get your stance, just to get the stance that works best for you. You might like to bring the feet a little bit closer together or further apart. It's completely up to you. Just as long as when you hinge forward, the knees don't go over the toes. So just be aware of that and just make the adjustments. So a few bending and straightening, just to get into the rhythm of that, get the stance and the grounding very firm, burying the feet deep into the earth. And when your legs next straighten, inhale, drawing up with the right hand, bending the left knee. And when your breath is ready to be released, straightening the legs and drawing the arm down. Again, my breath might be a very different pace to yours, so work with your own breath. And knowing when you exhale, draw the belly to the spine. When you next come forward with the bend, with the arm extending, we'll stay here for just a moment. Just a few breaths. You might find that you might like to soften the elbow a little bit rather than it be rod straight, whichever works best for you. And now when you're ready, we're straightening the front leg, coming onto the toe of the back. Whoops. Finding your balance, perhaps moving that foot a little bit so you're balanced. Drawing the weight now into that supporting leg, the left foot. Whoops. And bending the right leg up, stretching up to the sky. You might like to draw both hands towards the sky if that works for you. Remaining on the hip. And lowering both hands and feet legs and breath and shaking it out. I definitely found one side to be different from the other. And when that movement stops in the body, notice what's occurring once you've done both sides. It's noticing into the body. Maybe awareness of what's happening inside the body, inside the room. Also drawing a little bit of attention and noticing to what's happening outside. There might be some noises of rain. There may be some wind. There may be traffic. Weekend noises. And then drawing that noticing back once again into the body. Knowing that we live in the world, but we can also withdraw our noticing, our attention into the body. And being conscious in our day-to-day life when we're spending a lot of time perhaps with that external focus, that we do have that opportunity to balance by drawing the awareness into the body, into that interoception of what's happening within our person. And blinking the eyes open and moving into a helicopter swing, just to enliven the spine, with the arms nice and floppy and at ease. Having that massage of the arms as they tap the body. They might tap the hip, they may tap the back of the body. They come up higher. Might give the arms or the top of the chest, maybe the top of the lungs, a bit of a tap. Not bad for this time of year as we're moving into hay fever season, to give the lungs a little bit of a tap and moving the arms up higher still. And when you're ready, coming down once again, floppy arms, moving them down lower. And coming to that still point once again, where you might like to ever so briefly draw into mountain pose. Just to be in your body, in the sensations, in the movement of energy. And blinking the eyes open and rolling the body down toward the floor, chin to the neck. Rolling the arms down, relaxing, easing down to the floor and coming onto the knees. We worked last week with a version of child's pose where we used a bolster under the head if you'd like, or not if you'd like. So drawing the forehead to the floor or onto the bolster for a child-like position. The tail is towards the sky, so it's not quite child's pose. It's a version or a variation of. And inhaling, coming into cat. You might like to exhale back into child's pose or exhaling into downward dog with the tail towards the sky. And inhaling whenever you're ready into cat. Exhaling either into child's pose or if you'd like a little bit more movement, moving the exhalation into downward dog. So in your breath, in your own time, doing a few of these.
own space and body, knowing that this morning may be a time for a bit more movement, vigorous, or a bit less movement, whichever works and nurtures the noticing of your body. And when you next come into your next out breath, exhaling into child, the forehead to the floor, the tail towards the heels. You might like to also perhaps come into the full child's pose where the palms are towards the sky, beside the body, resting and easing the body down. And resting here for just a few breaths. And when you are ready, extending the body now onto the belly to move into the position for our crocodile breath. So crossing the arms to come onto the opposite shoulder. You might like to draw the feet comfortably lengthened behind you. They don't need to be wide, they can be just relaxing behind you in that lengthened, expanded space. The chin coming onto the wrists, or you might prefer the forehead onto the wrists. So the chest is lifted slightly and the belly is drawn into the floor. And without any directing of the breath, without anything more than putting ourselves into this position, allowing for the breath to naturally flow. And without any effort, it draws into the belly. As the upper lobes of the lungs are slightly elevated, there's a sense of the breath filling the lower lobes of the lungs. It's that deep and full yoga breath that occurs here. The exhalation is full. There's the rise and fall of the back that you may notice. Or with the inhalation, the belly pushes into the floor. Again, without effort, without needing to direct the breath. It's a calm noticing of the breath that is. And completing your next breath, releasing the arms, drawing the forehead to the floor, bringing the hands onto the floor, elbows to the sky, pushing into cat. Coming on to hands and knees to move into a few cat-cows. So it's that alternate breath once again that we become aware of. When we fully exhale, we can round the back belly to the spine, chin into the neck. When we allow the body to expand with the breath, there's the opening of the chest and the gazing forward, or perhaps upward. Using your breath to guide. And the speed of your breath. And slowing and lowering, coming into a neutral cat, the tabletop, where you just give the tail a little bit of a wiggle.
And from here,
if your knees are able, bring your hands or your fists to rest on your feet or the floor behind, shoulder blades coming together. Lifting the front of the body, that front stretch, stretching all the vagus nervous system through the front of the body. You might like to draw the head back or allow the head to look forward, whichever works for you. Tail coming down to the heels. We'll do just one more. Shoulder blades coming together, opening up through the chest. With the inhalation, drawing the body up towards the sky. And taking a few breaths here. And when you're ready to lower the tail, draw the chin into the chest and releasing and easing the arms and the hands. Perhaps even taking a moment to swallow. And coming onto the tail, we draw the foot soles together, high onto the sitting bones once again. Maybe rocking from side to massage those muscles that tighten up to keep us, to give us a sense of safety and security. Maybe drawing the body back a little bit so you can massage another part of your buttocks. Maybe forward, just experimenting a little bit with this movement. Shoulders at ease and relaxed. And slowly coming into a settled space. You adjust your sitting to come in to a feathering. To move once again the right and left together. Eyes lowered or closed. That rhythm that we've been creating through the class is experienced during this feathering. Movement that we do right and left in unison for balance and equilibrium. And when you're ready to slow the movement, opening the eyes, drawing the knees together, and some flip-flops from side to side. Letting it all go. And lengthening the legs out. Just a moment. Again, a bit of a shake. Before we come into a cross-legged position. We move into the mudra. Classic mudra. Using a bolster if you need to straighten, lengthen and support the spine and the pelvic tilt. Pointer into the pad of the thumb, crown towards the sky, an awareness of the length of your spine, that rod of light that runs through your body, sending messages and energy. Inhale. Raising the arms up, softening elbows and wrists. Exhale, hinging forward to cross behind. As the breath flows in its own pace, we draw the awareness inward into our body. Into the body that we're travelling with through this lifetime, with all aspects, those that we like, those that are less than ideal in our mind's eye, the body that we have, the body that serves us, being able to fully embrace all parts of our body, loving kindness towards ourself, our physical self. Inhale to come up. Exhale, releasing down. Drawing breath in. Hinging, releasing breath out, crossing behind. Allowing again for the free-flowing breath as we draw the awareness to our mind, our capacity to think, to solve problems, to make decisions that are right for us and for others. That which allows us to analyse, to interpret, and sometimes that mind that can be a little bit harsh with us, a little bit critical. Awareness of all aspects of the mind, knowing that we are not our thoughts, but the mind does what it needs to do to get us through our life. We can make a choice as to what thoughts that we have, that we believe and take in. Our capacity to make choice. Inhale, coming up. And exhale, releasing down. Inhaling, third time. Exhaling and flowing. The body has been honoured, the mind acknowledged, and the awareness now shifts to the emotions. That colourful rainbow of emotions that flows through us all. The emotions that move us forward, motivate us. The way we colour or perceive the emotions as good or bad, all moving us in a direction. Our capacity to feel the full range of the emotional rainbow. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, releasing down. And softening arms, softening gaze. Drawing the awareness inward, into the centre of you, all aspects of you. Your mind, your body, your emotions. All connect you and root you into the humanity. Really ground you into your humanity. Blinking the eyes open and releasing the legs. Allowing the legs to have a little bit of a shake. I think we might come up into standing and we might do a standing spine twist. I'll be quite gentle on the back when we do this spine twist. So drawing the arms up to shoulder height. Releasing first the right hand to the right leg, lengthening up with the left as we come slowly over towards the right. Opening up along the left side of the body. Then we don't have to go too far. Belly button to the spine to support the back. And coming up once again, arms extended. Lowering now the left to the leg. Lengthening up with the right. And over.
Moving in once again to that rod of light through the body. Stabilizing us, connecting us, body and mind. Up once again and lowering. Closing the eyes for just a moment to be in the middle, the center of you. Blinking the eyes open and drawing the feet together. And coming down onto the floor. We're a bit up and down today. Onto the floor. Drawing the small of the back deep into the earth. Hands might rest for just a moment on the belly perhaps. This area that we first intuit our emotions. There's a feeling, there's a sensation that occurs in our physical body before it gets acknowledged on other levels of our person. To work in with our emotional centre here. Drawing the knees in toward the chest. Hands down to the ankles to place the legs, feet firmly on the floor. Pushing deep into the floor, grounding the feet. Drawing the belly to the sky. Maybe holding onto the ankles here or the feet to draw the shoulder blades together. Noticing the rise and fall of the belly here. From here you might like to come onto the toes, interlacing the hands or remaining where you were before. Belly to the sky. Very strong in the legs. So the emotions may occur, but we don't physically collapse into them. Emotions that move us forward, rather than getting us stuck. Releasing the hands, lowering the body onto the floor, one vertebrae at a time. Hugging the knees once again to the chest. Maybe forehead towards the knees, perhaps. Drawing feet towards the sky and lowering the legs toward the floor in your own pace. And when you arrive, just giving in. Allowing a few breaths to flow. And when you're ready, preparing to come up into sitting, prayer position with the hands or under the small of the back. Coming up to move into our creative centre. Ankles together, feet towards the sky. You might like to bend the knees slightly, or maybe place the bolster underneath the tail to straighten and lengthen. Drawing breath in, reaching arms up, lengthening, and with the hands dynamic and reaching, exhaling the breath, fingers reaching, straightening the back. When you've reached the point that works for you this morning, where you can bend no further, lower the hands. Heart, as though the heart is on strings around the toes,
So the gaze is forward. What do we want to create for ourselves? What would we like for ourselves? How would we like to see ourselves maybe in a few years from now? The vitality that we harness in these postures, this one particularly, can really enhance our physicality, our ability to recreate ourselves physically, to be vital and energized, to come out, drawing arms towards the toes, fingers reaching away, lengthening up and lowering, sweeping the knees up and finding a balanced position here where the breath can flow easily and we can integrate the benefit of that intention. Lowering the feet, and we'll come into cat for the bandhas. So we'll do 2 bandhas in cat, and with the third bandha, whilst we're engaged, we'll tuck the toes under and come up into downward dog. Or if it works best for you to remain in cat, do so. Releasing breath. Inhaling, feeling complete expansion of the lungs and the ribs, holding for a moment. Through the mouth, exhaling all of the breath out. Belly up to the rib cage, up and under the rib cage, chin into the neck. Holding against gravity, only as long as you can. And when your breath needs to flood in, allow it to do so. And rest the hands on 2 fists, where the belly can be at ease and relaxed. This is the posture where we work on being enough, acknowledging that we are enough. We can be satisfied. Moving into the next bandha, releasing breath. Inhaling breath, feeling complete expansion to hold. Through the mouth, exhaling, belly to the spine, up and under the rib cage, chin into the neck, the lower lock. And we can believe that we're worthy. We are worthy and enough, worthy of love and connection with others. When you need to, resting, allowing the belly to be fully at ease here. Moving into the third bandha, final bandha, where we'll move into downward dog if you choose. Releasing the breath. Inhaling, filling, holding through the mouth, exhaling all of the breath without tummy, back up and under, chin lock on. If you'd like, tucking toes under, extending up into a downward dog. Only holding as long as you feel comfortable in whichever variation. you complete, coming into that position where the head is supported, the body is softened, and then moving onto the floor, onto the belly, forehead to the floor, and the arms extended out. Lengthening the arms forward. Be moving into bow in a half bow variation. When you inhale, reaching up with the right hand and the left foot. So we're working in the opposite. Focusing on the adrenal glands and breathing here. To be able to discharge that energy, that fight and flight energy that we don't use. And releasing down. Softening for a moment. Focusing now on the opposite, the left hand and the right foot. Drawing up with the inhalation. Allowing a few breaths to flow here. As we create a lock on our adrenal glands. To allow for the free-flowing, fresh blood to flow when we release. And releasing. And now resting here, perhaps drawing the hands underneath the forehead. Once again in the breath, in the belly. So we can be motivated and moving forward, determined. But we can also rest when we need. Into the heart center, forehead to the floor, feet comfortably wide. Before you begin, tucking the chin under, forehead to the floor. The length from the toes to the crown. That sense of really being connected, again with the length of you, from the toes all the way to the top of the head. Into the heart as we inhale, drawing breath in, gazing up, pushing on the hands, coming in to cobra, or perhaps Sphinx is the variation that works best for you this morning. Into the heart, that courageous space that lives within us all. Our courage to be connected in with ourself, to connect into what we would like for ourselves. And also that courage to be vulnerable with others. And with that vulnerability to truly be able to connect in with others. That richness that comes from the vulnerability that we allow ourselves. Connecting self, connecting to others. And lowering down when you're ready. Forehead coming toward the floor. Turning the palms to the sky. Bending the knees. And allowing the feet to flip from side to side. That windscreen wiper, releasing the back.
lowering the feet and bending the elbows once again toward the sky to push the body into an extended child's pose, tail towards the heels, lengthening the hands away. And coming up on and sweeping onto the back. For just a moment, hugging the knees into the chest. Feet towards the sky. We'll go into a floor variation of the shoulder stand. Unless you'd like to move into an alternate variation, please do so. If you'd like to go into the full shoulder stand, do so. Supporting the head with the hands, releasing and relaxing into the weight of your head into the hands. Using the hands to guide the head, chin into the neck. The metabolism being the focus. For clarity in our thinking. To move at a pace that is even without being excessively fast-paced or sluggish. And when you're ready to release down, hug the knees into the chest once again. And draw the feet to the floor with the knees slightly bent. Lifting tail up, interlacing the thumbs to come high onto the shoulder blades, moving into Matsyasan, the fish. Dropping onto the wrists to release the thumbs. Straighten and lengthen the legs. Head draping back, bending the elbows, chest skyward. Head relaxing and easing. Calming the nervous system and connecting in with that intuitive centre. When the nervous system is calm, our ability to intuit is far greater. With the head releasing and relaxing back, lengthening, straightening the arms, head reaching for the floor. Tucking the chin in, releasing the hands. And giving in, easing the body. Drawing the head from one side to the other. Supporting the neck. Maybe swallowing. Licking the lips. And easing the body here for a breath or two. Readying yourself to come up into sitting. Into our final posture, the inversion. We'll move into elephant, Nagasan. Tucking toes under, tails towards the sky to widen, comfortably widen the feet. The hands and the feet earthing, supporting
neck at ease and relaxed. That connection that we can make with the wholeness and all that there is. When our body has been worked with intention and settled. When all of the systems of the body are working in harmony and unison, we have our capacity to connect in with the greater source, the world that we live in, the world that we've come from, and all that there is. Coming out, feet together, knees bent, untucking the toes to rest once again on 2 fists. And when you're ready to come up into sitting, do so. And with the head sweeping over to the right and to the left. Chin to center. Chin towards the chest. And then reaching up toward the sky. And coming back to center. And rolling the shoulders a little bit one way and the other. And preparing for a few moments of ease down back on the floor. To finish where we began. To ease warmly and comfortably into the floor. To be supported in your space. Ensuring there's layers enough so the body doesn't get too cold. And again, notice into the body. To be fully in the body. To be at ease and comfortable. Allowing these moments just to be. Hearing to return to your room, your awareness and your consciousness to be in the place that you live. And draw that noticing to what's occurring outside of your room, outside of your home, the furthest that you can reach with your hearing. And then drawing that awareness back in closer, back into your room once again, and into the movement of your body. Deepening the breath, movement of fingers and toes. When you're ready to draw the arms up, overhead, lengthening the fingers away, lengthening the toes in the opposite direction. And easing, softening, hugging the knees into the body. And when you're ready, rolling the body onto the right side, supporting the head, and resting here for just a moment. And in your own time, sweeping your body up into a comfortable sitting position. And allowing now for the arms to sweep overhead, lengthening toward the sky. Hands into prayer position, gathering up all of the lovely energy we've shared together and drawing that down to the heart. You draw that into the centre of you to travel with that in the week in between. And thank you so much for joining and sharing the energy together. And if you would like,